Mamady said that music in general, I mean, started from women, meaning how they would clap and start singing.
Right.
The drumming came later. Okay, we have very special guest, and they were not naming this special guest. I'm like, ठीक है यार, special guest. Okay, we'll give them a big drum. और क्या करेंगे? Like, because for me also I didn't know. So, because is it special? The idea of a drum circle is there's no hierarchy. It breaks hierarchy.
Yeah.
And everyone's sitting on the same
Correct.
level. And nowadays, people are more hip to looking at health from a holistic perspective,
Correct.
holistic health and well-being perspective,
True.
which matters a lot. And through the work that we do, we're able to then address.
Hello, welcome to the Meeting Point podcast. What am I showing you? So this is a West African drum and it is called as Djembe. So today's podcast is all about Djembe. Yeah. I had done a small workshop on Djembe long back in Bangalore, and since then I've been in love with this drum. This is a very versatile instrument and is widely used as a percussion instrument also. And in West African countries, this drum is used in every ceremony, all right, be it childbirth, be it weddings, even to settle disputes in the villages, be it farming, many occasions they play this drum. We have invited the director and founder of Tal Inc. His name is Varun Venkit, who has been playing djembe for more than 10 years. And he's a published clinical psychologist as well, who has done a lot of study on the psychological and physiological benefits of drumming. Yeah. So we're going to have some amazing conversation with Varun, lot of laughter. Okay. And going to get a lot of insights on this musical instrument. So I hope you enjoy. Yeah. Let's begin. Hi, Varun.
Hi
Welcome to the
there.
Meeting Point podcast.
Thank you for having me. Great.
My pleasure. So, what is djembe all about? We
Wow.
hear so much. Like there are drum circles, there's djembe as an instrument.
Right.
So,
Right. Yes.
just
Sure. Getting right into it. Djembe. It's such an amazing instrument. It comes from West Africa.
okay.
And traditionally, the instrument is synonymous with life,
Okay.
which means that it accompanies pretty much every happening in society. So,
All right.
let's say there's a naming ceremony for a child. There's a very particular rhythm that will be played.
Okay.
For a good harvest, there's a particular rhythm that is played. For a full moon celebration, there are a set of rhythms that are played. To show rivalry or to sometimes solve rivalries, there are some rhythms that are played. So it's really interesting. I started studying the djembe in 2010. I mean, before that, I was already a percussionist and drummer, but
Okay.
I think it was only in 2010 when I met my guru, Mamady Keita, may his soul rest in peace, is when I realized the depth and the magnitude of this instrument.
All right.
It's safe to say that this instrument has changed my life. And yeah, so in a nutshell, it's a goblet-shaped percussion instrument hailing from West Africa that is very much a part of the fabric of life, right?
Okay.
Similar to what the tabla means to us, what the mridangam means to the South Indians. In that way, the djembe is one of the flag bearers of West African percussion, right? Another major interesting difference between between Indian folk and classical percussion instruments and West Africa is that here in our culture we have a difference. Like there are instruments that are considered classical instruments and there are instruments that are considered folk instruments.
Right.
In West Africa, legitimately there is no difference. Their classical music is their folk music. is their classical music. So in that sense, the djembe has representations of both. Like it is something that tells stories about their culture, their tradition, their history.
Okay.
And it's also something that everyone grows up learning. Just like how it was in our childhood ki हमने तबला सीखा और तबला सीख रहे हैं, and stereotypically so the young girls went and learned Kathak or Bharatnatyam. So ऐसा, but it's a part of our culture. So
Right.
this was also another
Part of their
part of their
culture.
culture. And you mentioned drum circles, and yes, one of the major things I wanted to say is yes, the djembe is one of the most popular percussion instruments used in a drum circle.
Used in a drum
Right.
circle.
Learning djembe doesn't equal to learning drum circle. So this we'll talk about, I think, more in as we continue our conversation. But yeah, that's the very short version of this, or short intro of this instrument.
Okay.
Yeah.
So why this peculiar shape?
Right. Very interesting question. So Mamady said that music in general, I mean, started from women, meaning how they would clap and start singing.
Right.
The drumming came later. Okay. And one of the daily tasks or chores that women did traditionally was the mortar pestle. What do you call it? When you ground spices.
Yes.
And you use mortar, a large wooden base and one large stick. Correct. To pound the whole spices. So if you look at it, this top part, the top part of the goblet instrument was inspired from the mortar pestle design, and this base was added later.
Acha.
Was added later while saying, okay, what if we put a membrane on top of this? We'll need a little bit more space for the vibration to resonate, and therefore added a base to this bowl. And that's how the shape was designed. Like, and the blacksmith started designing. Blacksmiths originally worked with metal. They said, okay, we'll use metal ring. Originally, actually, one of the first djembes, you just put the skin, and the skin was riveted onto the drum. But then I guess the issue there was it couldn't be tightened too much, or you were pretty much at the mercy of heat to get tension on the skin. Then the rivets to see if that would work. Rivets, then I guess as it developed slowly, the bottom ring and the top ring. So you had then the ring that holds the skin down, uske upar the ring that pulls that skin down. Very similar concept as tabla.
Tabla, correct.
Similar, not same, but similar. And because this was first, I think in the 13th century was when the first djembe photos came, or 13th century ka. Yeah, so long time ago, right? And yeah, so Mamady would say that was one of the major inspirations for the design of this drum. The mouth of the drum in that sense is at the bottom. So that's why when you play, you tilt the drum so that the mouth is open.
Okay, and then the vibrations or whatever
air can flow and vibration can happen, and you get a nice open sound. Yeah. Correct. And usually, though, you're playing standing up. You stand up and you harness the drum onto yourself. So it's like you wear it like a reverse rucksack.
There would be like and then you would play it.
And so it involves movement, and you really feel the vibration. You feel the rhythm on a body level, and it engages all of you, almost all senses.
Absolutely. You can't stand still and play it. Oh my God, no.
Unless you're very old.
It has to move you. The rhythm will move
you. You're right. It has to. And so the movement that accompanied the steps of movement very naturally accompanied rhythms of the djembe.
Correct. Yeah. So what skin would they use? Was there any typical skin? Always goat.
Traditionally goat skin.
Okay.
But lots of skins have been tried and experimented, and thicker skin, and cow. Sometimes calf skin, because cow skin is very thick. Then I know some amazing djembe folas today who use horse skin.
Oh,
God.
Okay.
Hands really hurt playing those drums, but goat skin. Mamady preferred goat skin. He loved spotted goat skin drums of medium
Okay.
thickness. Yeah.
Okay. Wow. And there are types of djembes. I mean,
Yeah.
the size varies,
The size
but
varies more as a thing of convenience because,
okay.
like, for kids, and nowadays since the application of djembe is so large, you'll have smaller, bigger drums. Traditionally, it is all big. Or for kids, it would be made small, simple.
Okay.
But now, the cool thing is, just like you have now Punjabi dhol or Kachhi dhol mein jo farak hai, you notice a difference in the size, the shape, the curvature of the drum.
Yeah.
Similarly, the shell design would change depending on where it came from. So the djembe comes from the region that's called the Mandeng. Huh?
Okay.
And the Mandeng region covers a lot of countries in West Africa, like Guinea, Mali, Senegal, Ivory Coast, Nigeria, that part of the world, right? So
Okay.
depending on where the drum, which country the drum came from, the shape would change. A Guinea shell is very starkly different from this one. This reminds me of an Ivory Coast shell because it has these longer stems.
Okay.
The Guinea shells it'll be more angular, and yeah, your quick Google search will give you those
I'm
designs.
sure.
Then the
Yeah, yeah,
Mali
yeah.
shell would have these huge bowls but curvy. Yeah,
Okay.
very beautiful, very beautiful.
Okay.
Each one, because they all boast of a very strong history with the djembe. So it's like alag alag gharana hi jaise stories, So yeah, and even there, the style of playing will differ slightly. The swing of how you felt the music will change slightly, and that's so amazing. I kid you not, there are research papers on the micro timing of the Vassolon region.
What is that?
Yeah, it sounds so complicated. It's basically now the way they swing or feel the swing of the music. You might feel it straight, 3, 4, 1, 2. You might feel it swung. When you say swung, here's where things get cool because, like, let's say your Western rock feeling teaches you swing of a one, a two, ta ta, pa pa, pa pa, kind of a swing. Then you have the South American swing, which is very different. Similarly, you have the Vassalon swing, which is very tough for me to explain like that. You have to listen and feel it. But the feeling is very fluid in between the binary or sort of very 16th note feel and the ternary or the 8th note triplet feel.
Okay.
I mean,
Yeah.
to speak
That's
to all
okay.
those
Yeah, yeah,
musical
yeah.
geeks
I
out
know
there,
they'll
but
understand.
even that's still like very theoretical or a heady way to understand it. The best way is just to listen to the music and then play it long enough to feel it. The cool thing is, and I don't have any proof of this, but I feel the cool thing is that a lot of our folk music, our garba, our Punjabi dhol, the triplet, the takata 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 feel is very common to their 6/8 feel. It's common. Like I said, I can't prove this. I haven't done any research, but just knowing these two styles of music, I felt that there's something very common, and I know that because almost all the Indians I have taught this field to, they get it saying, I get it, I understand it. Whereas the more like Caucasian people I have taught, not got it as easily.
Yeah.
Just I think purely because they have no point of reference. We have some point of reference. हम लोग गरबा जैसा, but different, but उसके
Yeah.
जैसा है. Whereas I think, unfortunately, the cultural musical inheritance may not be as intense as the Indian one, which is deep as hell.
Yeah.
We have a
And
very
varies region wise and everything.
exactly. So
So,
similarly, I think that's something that is similar to we have with our African
yeah, yeah, yeah.
brethren and sistren.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, are there particular beats that you play, or how does it go? So, if one has to learn djembe, of course, it
Correct.
should, like any other instrument, it will take its own time
Right.
for you to understand
Correct.
how to
Correct.
play djembe.
Right.
It's just not like just giving one beat and
Ha.
you've learned it.
Correct. Very true.
So,
Very true. It's not.
uh,
It's not like आजकल लोग पूछते हैं कितना कितना टाइम लगेगा सीखने को. I'm like यार how to answer your question. Okay, so just like you said that we spoke earlier saying that the tabla and the mridangam takes a whole lifetime to learn. Like
Yeah.
when I learned the mridangam for a while to understand its konakol or recitation principle. I play very, very basically. It took me 1 year before my guru said, okay, now you can play on the drum. Uske pehle the message, I was only reciting.
Okay.
So why that? It's because you develop this mind-body connection of
Okay.
if you can say it, you can play it. So when I said ta din din na, then very easily my hands would, after getting the physical semantics out of the way, okay, ta din na would happen more naturally than if I was given the drum on day one. So similarly for djembe, you have alphabets, you have sounds, so you have but only basically three sounds.
Okay.
You have boom, tu, and ta.
Okay.
And using these three basic sounds, it's quite amazing what you can do with this instrument, because obviously you'll make more combinations of sounds and
Yeah.
तीन के छः हो जाएंगे, छः के नौ हो जाएंगे. You'll have more sounds, of course, but the simplicity of the instrument really stands out, and um, that's when I think the idea of feeling time differently comes in, because I don't have to worry about remembering more alphabets. I have boom, tu, and ta. I practice them. I do my riyaz daily, and then practice on really cleaning the sound, as Mamady would call it, because it's not only about doing the physical action of playing tone correctly with your fingers together and ta correctly with your fingers apart. It's not just that. It's so much more about making that mind body connection, similar to what we do by just reciting tati tum nam ta tati, just by reciting as kids, that it somehow gets into our system. So the
Correct.
moment now I'm saying boom tututaka tukuta, then when I put my hands on the drum, the hands will make those adjustments to bring out boom tukutaka tukuta, and then it'll sound like what you're saying, as opposed to just boom taka 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 taka. Like it won't
I
be
know.
just
So flat.
flat. Correct. It'll
Yeah.
be a that you'll be able to make the djembe speak, just like Ustad Zakir Hussain ji makes the tabla
I
sing
know.
with every time
Yeah.
he touches the instrument,
Yeah.
like that. So yeah. Having said that, it's easier to start playing a rhythm because boom, tu, and ta, I might be able to play on class one. Maybe the sounds are not coming out well, but I can still play that. And so that with the djembe is very inviting, very forgiving. The djembe makes you feel very good about yourself. So this is also why it's used in these drum circles so many
Yeah.
times. Having said that, it's important to not mix the two, which means that okay, when I'm learning the djembe to study it and play the djembe, it can take an entire lifetime.
Yeah. Yeah.
When I'm playing the djembe as a part of a drum circle or a therapeutic group drumming activity, there I'm using the drum as a means to help me express emotional content, and that's fine and that's okay. So
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
drum amazingly allows for whatever you want, and therefore I think I love it so much.
Yeah. I guess it responds the way you respond to it.
Exactly, absolutely.
If you, yeah.
Yeah.
I remember the day, the days in Bangalore when we were learning
Right,
this.
right.
Are you familiar with Bangalore?
Little
A little
bit,
bit.
little
Okay.
bit.
So, anyways, this was in Koramangala, and we were on the second floor, and there were restaurants around and all of that. Okay. And we are sitting on a terrace, which is partially covered or so.
Okay.
The voice would be the sound,
Loud.
not voice,
Yeah,
right? The sound would be carried like
loud.
a
Yeah.
good half a kilometer, and there are six of us
Right.
at it. Okay.
Right.
Oh, what fun.
Yeah.
I mean, you may be exhausted, to go for the class,
Correct.
but after the class, you're like
Always rejuvenated.
all
Yeah,
charged up,
yeah.
energized, and
Yeah, that's the thing, huh? The drum, the djembe especially has so gross motor activity,
yes.
unlike the duff or the tabla, which are fine, nah? Smaller movement. So therefore, smaller movement means smaller amplification, smaller sound waves, right? So, and then it makes you wonder where the drum came from. Like the Indian percussion instruments were played in smaller chambers, which
Okay.
were whose acoustics were great, so the sound traveled a lot. Whereas, cut to, imagine you're on a field, you're accompanying or you're encouraging farmers to sow seeds and plow the fields. it's open. The
Yeah.
sound is going to just decimate into nothing, right?
Yeah.
So that way the instrument is designed according to the setting in which it would be applied. So therefore you needed 6 7 drummers to play, to create a vibe, to get the farmers to plow. Everything was done by hand till date in some places. And the fields were far away from home, so the drummers went, took food, and would encourage the farmers on the field to plow together. So just like the instrument will have a particular rhythms, these rhythms will have particular songs, these songs will have very particular dances and movements. So the casa rhythm, which is a or a senefoli rhythm, which is a rhythm to encourage farmers on the field, will have the movements will mimic that of a pickaxe hitting the floor, hitting
Correct.
the field and the earth to plow it. So it's really very simple, and in that I think it's so beautiful.
It's
Basically.
beautiful. Yeah. So these names that you took are the rhythms that
Actually, yeah.
you
Yeah. So
for
senefoli
Djembe.
is a rhythm that's played in of the Malinke, or a rhythm of the Malinke people from
Okay.
northeast Guinea, and this rhythm would be played to encourage farmers on the field to plow.
Okay.
Similarly, casa, the word casa means granary, where you store
Okay.
your wheat and your
Right.
produce. So casa is a rhythm that's played to celebrate a good harvest. And and it's a truly a community activity. So people would come, dance, play, sing. So then many more rhythms are there. You have a set of rhythms called Yankadi Makru, very cute. These two rhythms would be rhythms of courtship, or like
Okay.
where young boys and girls would meet each other, flirt with each other. And Mamady
Yeah.
would joke saying many marriages have resulted out of these Yankadi Makru celebrations. So like every rhythm has a story, and that's when you know ki, this is what the rhythm represents. Now, of course, I mean, because back in the day, I guess entertainment was a third, fourth byproduct of this.
Right.
Today, sure, times have changed, so entertainment is one of the major reasons we play.
Correct.
No problem at school. My livelihood depends on that many times. So it's great, but it's also good to know where the rhythm comes from
Comes
and
from.
how it's very much a part of our day-to-day lives. So in that, knowing that really helps, I think, change the feeling or add an intent to why you're performing. Or when I perform on stage, when I perform this music on stage, it's with that intent.
Okay.
It's knowing that this rhythm comes from here. So what else I'll put into that music will be connected in some way, like that. Yeah.
Wow. Do you want to play a beat or
Yeah, sure. Yeah, absolutely. On this drum, yeah, it's a.
I don't know even if this
Yeah,
is the
yeah.
right one.
It's a slightly smaller drum, but it's perfectly fine for my let's say musical like performances. I'll have a
You will
bigger
have, of
drum,
course, yeah.
but for like drum circles and stuff, you can use whatever you want. Yeah. So the three sounds on the drum traditionally are the bass, which we verbalize as boom,
Boom.
uh, tone, which we verbalize as tu, and slap, which we verbalize as ta.
Ta. Okay.
So boom, tu, and ta. And I don't know if it'll come out, but let's see.
Uh-huh.
Sort of. There you go. Yeah. Simple rhythm. This one was a little variation of a rhythm called Bala Kulanjan,
Okay.
which is an initiation rhythm, a rhythm played for the initiation ceremony of young boys and girls.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
Wow.
that was one.
I didn't know this part. I remember this one rhythm. Boom pa pa boom pa. Boom pa
Correct.
pa boom pa. Something like that. This
Right.
is stuck in my head. I
That's
don't know
great.
why.
No, it's
We
great. It's a
would
very
just-
popular rhythm. Although what you're singing is a Middle Eastern rhythm called the Baladi, Baladi. Although, so this rhythm is a very popular rhythm, right? So
Okay.
when you sung it perfectly, so the moment you sung it, I'm like, yeah, that's the Baladi which was traditionally played on a dumbek.
Dumbek.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay. Huh. That's a
Huh.
different instrument, no? But yeah.
Correct, correct. So it accompanies your Middle Eastern belly dancing kind of thing, right? So if you look it up, you'll find baladi. Having
Yeah.
said that, it's connected to Africa, huh? So
Okay.
as you move further in and further north,
You are there.
yeah, yeah, you
Yeah.
get. I mean, you're in the Middle East pretty much, and then you get to the kind of rhythms change.
Yeah.
So just over here, like one Keherwa matlab will change 2 hours you drive further inland and the Keherwa Theka will change.
Right.
So similarly, um, like boom, your calypso, boom, ta, ta, boom, ta, ta kind of drum, kind of rhythm. I can name certain West African rhythms that sound like that. And of course, when you go further in that direction, Central South America, you'll hear that a lot more, and you'll hear it with different names. Calypso, you'll hear soca, you'll hear whatever, different names.
Okay. Okay.
So this rhythm and name wala thing is a endless debate. But yeah, the one you sung out sounds very similar to a baladi.
Okay.
Yeah. Rhythm.
Okay. Wow. But it was fun. It was fun when we used to play it.
Yeah, of course. It's a lot of fun to play. It's
So
a lovely
many
rhythm.
tunes, yeah. Like I was telling you, it would be like, either developing your focus on getting the beat
Yeah,
right
yeah,
at the right time.
Correct.
Though your fingers are hurting or whatever it is, but once
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
into it, you're like so
And you almost forget
much.
about it for that short while. But then
Yeah.
you're like, ouch, it hurts.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
sorry, I suddenly remembered. You
Huh.
said boom pa, right? So
Yes.
that's the first half of Makru, huh? Boom pa 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 boom pa. So Makru is that courtship wala rhythm I was telling you.
Oh,
So like I said, these rhythms as you move can modify and change and it can
yeah.
become so,
Even the sound of it is like,
yeah.
it's like
Yeah. It's very
invoking
rhythmic.
some sort of
Yeah.
joy within you
For
or something
sure,
like that.
for sure. It's very rhythmic. It spreads. The djembe is it's a symbol of joy, happiness.
Yeah. So, what drew you to djembe? Because you've learned a lot of instruments, right?
Right. So I started off as a drum kit player, student of drum kit, and studied with different teachers. And one of my teachers, Mr. Joshua Banks,
Okay.
he's from Australia, but he was in Pune learning the tabla, and he was learning the tabla from Rajiv Devasthali ji, and I was learning the drum kit from him. So we had this beautiful like, triad of
Wow.
yeah, it was a lot of fun. So then he realized that I love percussion so much, and he's like, "Hey, have you met?" And these are before the days of Spotify and all. He's like,
Okay.
"Have you heard of Mamady Keita?" I'm like, "No, I don't believe I have." So he handed me a DVD, and that's the first time I saw or heard of and saw Mamady Keita on a DVD. He had done these instruction DVDs of different rhythms. He called it
Okay.
Le Rhythm de Mandang, rhythms of the Mandang, and it's amazing to study and to just see and to experience that energy. And I'm like, is this man alive? If he is, I must meet him. And I just googled, and lo and behold, he was going to be in Singapore in 2010.
Okay.
And at the time, my folks were in Singapore, and I could not think of how this could be any more serendipitous. So I said, okay, let's go. And I met him thinking that I'm the school percussionist, he'll see me and all that. I got my ass handed to me, to be honest. Because, I mean, sure, I can understand the rhythms and all, but it's always a very memorable first day to learn something. So, yeah, Mamadi in his own sweet, loving, yet, calling out BS way, um, told me that yeah, I needed to make certain changes with my hands and my drum to get the sound out, and I'll never forget that. So thereafter, I followed him like Mary's lamb wherever I could.
Yeah.
Usually, your guru shishya thing, they say no 12 years, ek tab, like one phase of your life you follow. So I felt
It was literally like that.
like
Huh?
that, except that he was far away. So wherever he was, every year, I would meet him. So that
Okay.
way, our Guru Shishya relationship is very interesting. And interestingly, Mamadi had students like this all over the world.
Okay.
So currently, there are a few crazy people like us who have been entrusted by him to continue his tradition and spread djembe in the traditional West African way. Uh, and the school is called the Tam Tam Mandeng Djembe Academy.
Okay.
So Tam Tam means drums in Malinke, Mandeng is the region, and Djembe Academy. So
Okay.
yeah, and he was kind of, like I said, he's a legend, but then very much planned for the future. So he was one of the few African teachers to write stuff down, make an app so that people would be able to learn this way. So he went with the times. Otherwise, it's a very age-old tradition of similar to India of like orally passed down from one generation to another.
Okay.
So I guess now we're embracing the new way of hybrid learning, in
Yeah.
person learning, online through apps and stuff like that. Yeah, yeah. So meeting Mamady really changed everything for me, and positively so, because it helped me learn so much about one culture to apply into my djembe classes, to apply into my performances with bands, to apply into my drum circle stuff. So it really positively influenced my work as on the whole.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow. So much so that you were at an event in Mumbai
Okay, yeah.
with
My
the
God, yeah.
ex, yeah,
That was amazing.
first lady
In
of
2010, when the
US.
Obamas visited India and they were in Mumbai, I
Huh.
still remember that call. It was really nice. A friend of mine called saying a common friend is going to call you, and I said, okay, this is the work I do, so please ask my number. And that
Yeah.
person called me saying, we have very special guest, and they were not naming this special guest. I'm like, ठीक है यार, special guest, okay, we'll give them a big drum. क्या करेंगे, like, because for me also I didn't know. So, because I said special, the idea of a drum circle is there's no hierarchy, it breaks hierarchy,
Yeah.
and everyone's sitting on the same
Correct.
level and all that. So for me, of course, I I will respect whatever special guest, but there's no special treatment or anything. Then they said, after it all got confirmed, this is no special guest is Michelle Obama. And then I'm like, oh, okay. I said, now I understand what you
Why?
meant, why you were
Yeah.
saying. So that was nice. Wow. The whole process took so long. The actual activity was very short, as you can imagine. Every second of the then first lady's time was accounted for.
Accounted
So
for.
my
Yeah. Yeah.
God,
Yeah.
security detail knew me by first name, second name, everything. So amazing. It's that whole process was
They must have
quite.
had your fingerprints also,
Exactly.
probably.
It was after that I got my US visa. So funny.
Okay.
Uh, the experience was amazing. They're like, okay, what instrument would you be giving the first lady? I said, the first lady can have whatever instrument she wants. Of course, it's important, but I think, yeah, then she chose a tambourine because that was the easiest to just hold and play, and you know, the drum otherwise can be a little unwieldy to put,
Yeah.
and but yeah, definitely she was so into it. The time just flew by. I spoke to her, I think, for all of 12 seconds, but that also, I mean, yeah, it felt really nice. She has a warm, lovely aura about her, and yeah, it's great. I cherish, and I'm very grateful for that experience, of course. Until today, I harp on that fact, but of course, it's a long time
Of
ago.
course, it's a special
I mean, yeah,
thing.
but
Yeah.
it is something that happened a long time ago.
Yeah.
Very
Like,
grateful, yeah.
out of all instruments, picking up
Yeah, yeah,
djembe and
yeah, and
doing that
playing
is
and
like, yeah.
and connecting that way. She definitely encouraged the work that I was doing. That felt really nice. Continue
Yeah.
spreading joy. So yes, of course.
And how did you end up doing that with the PM,
Oh wow!
Narendra
Yes,
Modi?
yes, Shri Narendra Modi, and the meeting of Narendra Modi ji and the then Prime Minister Shinzo Abe of Japan.
Okay.
So that was through an event company. But there we performed. I put together a very special Indo-Japanese fusion percussion
Okay.
performance where we used a lot of taiko-based drumming concepts, and then we collaborated with Yogini Gandhi ji, and made a very special haiku that,
Oh,
that would communicate this fusion. And I had the amazing good fortune of playing with my musical heroes. There was Sridhar Parthasarathy on the
yes.
mridangam, Gino Sheldon on drum and bass. There was Kalpana ji on vocals. Kalpana Paturi, amazing singer. Who else? I'm forgetting so many people. My God, there was Ravi Chari on sitar.
So you all
Yeah.
were
Yeah,
together
yeah, yeah.
and
Yeah, but I curated this
okay.
performance with all of us together. And the performance was about 13 minutes. Again, that's the prep for these shows are much longer and so much more
Much
memorable
longer.
than the actual performance.
Yeah.
But it was nice to, again, experience the whole thing. It was quite amazing. Um, yeah,
Wow.
yeah. Unforgettable setting, unforgettable experience. Yeah, yeah. Really
Wow.
nice.
Memorable.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So, is there any particular beat or are there any challenges that one would face while working djembe?
While,
Learning or
oh
playing
yeah,
djembe?
of course. I mean, I think like any instrument, learning the instrument actually shows you, or whatever challenges you face while learning the instrument, shows you a part of yourself that you
Yes.
need to overcome. I mean, I'm generalizing a little bit, but at least I'm putting myself into this journey. Means this is what happened with me. So, something as simple as working on getting your sound more and more refined. Now, when you hear some other players, you'll be so inspired, saying, "Wow, what clean, beautiful sound! How can I, you know, how can I get that kind of a sound?" So then I guess that process of learning really never ends, and it's truly amazing how an instrument like the djembe, or I would imagine any instrument you dedicate your life to, will just constantly challenge you but constantly reward you as well, to tell you, to reassure you that you're on the right path. So, I mean, challenges. Some of the things I have faced is this: how to refine my sound more, um, how to play, increase my djembe vocabulary. Uh, Many a times, I think the answer I would get indirectly from Mamady was, "Don't worry about that. Be yourself. Be yourself," he would say. And that's what it's about, right? Because, of course, I can learn what someone else plays and I can be good at it, but I probably won't be better than they are at being themselves. The idea would be to be yourself on the drum, be your most authentic self, because, well, no one else can do
Right.
that.
Right.
That was one major learning I remember from Mamadi. And yeah, yeah, mainly uh, the other issue is more about, I think, consistency and inspiration, which, because at the time I was learning, I would sometimes feel very alone because no one was doing this at that time. I mean, even today, very few people are studying this instrument like it sort of like it should be.
Okay.
um, so that time I would feel very lonely at times. So then meeting the whole international Djembe family really helped
Helped.
motivate and spread that awareness. Today there's definitely more awareness about what djembe is, but there's also, like I said, some misconceptions where people think playing the djembe means I'm certified to do drum circles, which unfortunately or
It's
not.
not.
Yeah, to work with groups using rhythm as a medium, there's a whole other training process, which is something that I have spent a lot of my time doing.
Okay.
So I run a course to teach people how to become drum circle facilitators as well. That's something that I do once a year. I think we'll talk about that maybe on another podcast. But but yeah, for the djembe, definitely it will test you in ways that I think, let's say you commit yourself to the djembe, then the djembe will test you in ways that you can handle, but it will require commitment. It will require consistency and discipline. Yeah, yeah,
Like any other instrument for that
exactly,
matter. It's
yeah,
just
yeah,
not like, you learn two, three beats and
yeah,
you
exactly.
know it
Yeah,
all.
yeah, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Today, I mean, this kind of thinking though, Ajkal, it's very much rampant. Na, saying quickly, I want to learn things,
Ah,
crash course quickly, which, well, you won't get much from the djembe or
true.
anything. Actually, I don't think can happen
True,
in crash
true.
course, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah. People want instant. Like you would say, no, kitna time lagega seekhne mein? Arey, it's not that simple.
Yeah, I found
You know?
innovative answers. I said, "आप कितना time दोगे इसके?" So whatever, I have fun with it when people ask that
Yeah,
question.
yeah. It's like, you know, like an instant thingy. Okay, हाँ 3-4 beat है ना, ठीक है, आ गया
आ गया,
types.
आ
You know,
गया.
one drum circle, like probably they're sitting, they know what it is. But
Exactly.
unfortunately, it's not.
Yeah. Many people have started doing drum circles after watching some of my drum circles, and as flattering as that may be, I'm like, यार नहीं बहुत है सीखने को तो please करो, but please सीख के करो
Do
like
it the
that.
right way.
Please do it like exactly.
Yeah.
It's good. The more drummers, the more facilitators there are, the better.
Correct.
But learn and do it, because otherwise क्या होगा is you'll run out of steam. That's it. Like that. What's that? This is a West African saying.
Huh.
If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together.
Go together.
That means
Correct.
Sort of similar to what we were talking about, but the idea being if you want to go sustainably far, then learn, build a strong foundation, go together.
Correct. Have the right people to
Yeah,
teach you and everything. Yeah. Absolutely. Any instrument, music for that matter.
Right.
Is
so important.
that.
The role of a
Yeah.
guru. Yeah.
Wow. Wonderful. So, do share some stories, no? You must have come across while probably facilitating a drum circle
Right.
or teaching or performing.
Right. Wow. Yeah. Stories, as in, I mean, I hadn't experienced as much as I had as I was teaching.
Okay.
Like many of the rhythms, there'll be these stories of, okay, there's a specific rhythm of a mask dance where this mask represents like, this kind of a strict person, and they say, oh, nahi, so jao, varna ye aa jayega. Like a way that mothers would put their kids to sleep. So there are such rhythms as well.
Okay.
And I'm like, okay, I'm teaching them, and it's feeling very like textbookish. But very interestingly, when I went to Senegal and I spent time learning the djembe there with Mamady, I actually experienced this where after the class we were coming back, and there's this one scary looking like masked creature running across the village, okay? And then this person actually has an axe in their hand, axe or a whip in their hand, I forget. Wow. And it's the person actually that the entity looks quite scary, yeah. And apparently it's meant to scare people into behaving well. Otherwise,
Okay.
I mean, at least that's how the folklore goes. I'm like, yeah, wow, it definitely works. So it was really nice to see that in action. Then another thing was like these full moon celebrations or these kind of Dununba parties, as they are called, like these young people parties, will go on for like hours and hours.
Okay.
So the music also needs to go on for that long. And I knew in theory, yes, that you play for hours, like 4 hours, 6 hours.
Wow.
You're just going, and there's some dancers coming, dancing and going, and then when the lead soloist is tired, some other person will play solo, and all the changes are very naturally, organically happening. Music never stops. It's quite amazing. And after our workshop in the day, of course, we were young and also we wanted to go out and actually experience that. And it was truly amazing when, we started playing in the evening. Next thing I know, we've stopped and the sun is rising and all that.
Wow.
But, I really at some point don't remember bits, because I guess, that's what it is, to access a state of flow, to be in this trance, to not know how time is passing. I know, like, okay, randomly sometime without asking for it, someone would come with some, like a bottle of water for me to have a sip, or for me means for us to have a sip. Sweating a lot, someone would be wiping the sweat off my brow. Like, this stuff is just happening, and you have to just trust the process, not, I guess, be hyper focused on details about how it's going to happen, but it happened.
It happens.
Yeah, that was truly something surreal for me to experience that. And after that, like aches, pains, itches, all these things didn't matter. The idea was that you keep playing, because if you stop, that's like sacrilegious. You can't stop. How can you stop? How can that stop? So, yeah. And unfortunately, I haven't experienced that back here in India yet, but Maybe one day. Maybe one day.
Maybe I guess the environment, the
When the time
location,
is right.
everything.
Correct, correct. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Absolutely.
probably. Wow. And you're doing some. You mentioned you're doing some projects with special children and
Yes,
all of that.
yes.
So
So that's one of the applications of the ongoing work we do with groups using arts-based interventions. So rhythm, movement, or song to positively influence certain behavioral parameters. Now, this is
okay,
where, of course, I'm not applying traditional djembe rhythms directly, but I'm using the the some of the crux of the learnings, and this is a hardcore, in fact, application of rhythm in uh, in a therapy setting, right?
okay,
So we've done multiple projects over time to work with different groups. Currently, one group is with the Center for Children in Conflict with the Law. So that's where we work with rhythm, and just the primary goal there is just to facilitate catharsis, stress reduction, and relaxation, and engaging with the audiences there because there's a wide range of issues that they're going through. Second is at this Center for Children with Special Needs. Here's where we're currently in the process of identifying some measurable goals that we will achieve over a period of time, and these are all ongoing work because a one-off session with these kind of groups actually does nothing
doesn't really help.
apart from just get you some sensationalist articles
Yeah,
featured in a
yeah,
newspaper or
yeah,
something,
yeah.
which is great, it's fine, but actually work of value in such cases take time, will
Take
happen over a
time.
period of
True.
time. So we
How is
take,
it received by
yeah, I
the
mean,
children?
currently now people, I think at least the people, the decision makers understand, are sold on, and believe in this concept. When I
Okay.
started, it wasn't the case. They had to be convincing, what? You'll do drumming with them? Why? How will that help? What's the use? Uh, then I was younger, but that's also a part of the challenges that I needed to overcome to convince people that this works. Now that my hair is a little whiter, people take me a little more seriously. And there's definitely, like, we've done projects, we've written papers, we've
Yeah.
published material out there so that people know that yes, drumming is therapeutic. Arts, indulging in arts is therapeutic. I mean, and in India, well, music therapy, when you say, people understand, oh, hey, aiklani, hey, hota. Like, correct, that people know that. But I guess now here we're saying that, okay, participate in this activity and that will enhance your experience that much. So drum, paint, move, sing
Yeah.
regularly,
Yeah.
and chances are key you will address the root cause of your physical illness also, because
True.
we otherwise medically be following a symptomatic model here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cold air reducing fever, okay, but why did the fever come, why did the throat ache happen? These questions medical science is not built to answer.
Correct.
um, so that, in fact, is a very emotional thing. So being a psychologist, um, this has helped me sort of get to the emotional root cause of these problems a lot, at least for my own life. And then it's too soon to generalize anything, but I think nowadays people are more hip to looking at health from a holistic perspective,
Correct.
holistic health and well-being perspective,
True.
which matters a lot. And through the work that we do, we're able to then address that. So these institutions and the heads who run these institutions are, touchwood, now a lot more receptive to this. And right from, I mean, mainstream hospitals are getting more open and receptive to,
Yeah.
including this in their protocol, which is a big deal. So
Wow.
in our lifetimes, we'll see a nice major change, and I'm
Yeah. You think
very
so?
yeah, 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 for sure, it'll
Wow.
happen.
So you mean hospitals here in
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
our in
My
India?
wife is doing some amazing work with expressive arts in medicine. She's doing
Okay.
her PhD in spreading or building a mental health awareness, mental health literacy program for the nursing staff. Because
Oh.
that's what now, I mean, oncology, dialysis, these are, like, let's say people over here have gone through major issues, have had major health related things, and the doctors, they, of course, they know, they've been trained too, but they probably just don't have the time to take enough time and break it down to the family and the patient with enough sensitivity and empathy. So there needs to be, a supplemental, mental health professional in the ecosystem to help that process along.
Correct.
Because it's not easy to hear that, okay, now I have to do dialysis for the rest of my life, um, and explain that to my family, and it's not easy at all. So this stuff now is changing, and hospitals are definitely getting more hip to it. I feel, and it's a great time,
Wow.
yeah, to be in this field. COVID, though, as horrible as that was, it was just the opportunity. Everyone needed to realize that we need to take our mental health a lot more seriously than we have.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's sparked a lot of change, internal change for everyone. Yeah.
But, because you mentioned COVID, just sparked this question in my head. Did learning Djembe go online?
It did. It did. I mean, I tried it. I don't want to like diss it too much, because if, let's say, you have learned, like, thanks to this online system now, I have students all over the world. Nah? It's amazing. But then there's always the necessity of touching base once in 3 months, once in 6 months, or something. But if it was the only way, my God, I did not like it too much at all. And also, one-on-one could work, but group classes just won't work.
Just
Because you
won't.
can't drum together.
Chaos. I mean, the
The
sound and
internet and
everything.
sound.
Yeah.
It was too crazy.
Yeah.
But we did some interesting things. I guess anything we needed to do to survive. So we did some online things, interactions we called it, but it was more show and tell, more call and response based, because together it's just not happening.
Just not happening.
Yeah. But we tried.
I just realized I forgot to ask you. Is this instrument, or rather, can you play this instrument by itself, or is it accompanied?
Right. Great question. And I
by-
also didn't cover some important things. So the djembe is almost incomplete just by itself. It is accompanied by 3 bass drums, collectively known as dununs. Dununs. Dununs are cylindrical bass drums of different sizes. Dunun ba is the biggest bass drum. Sangban is the medium-sized cylindrical bass drum, and kenkeni, which is the smallest bass drum.
Okay.
So, for one rhythm, you'll have maybe 1 or 2 or 3 djembe parts, and then you'll have 1 dununba part, 1 kenkeni part, 1 sangban part. So it's like 6 voices playing together, different things, and the rhythm is the marriage of these 6 parts.
Okay.
Right. So what I demonstrated was Balakulanjan Djembe accompaniment 1. Like that, there'll be Djembe 2, Kenkeni, Dununba, Sangban. So it's truly
combinations.
Like, so like a polyrhythmic. I don't want to say polyrhythmic. It's just many rhythmic phrases being played together, and the combination thereof could be polyrhythmic. Yes. Many a times it is, but that's definitely another different thing, because in our Indian way of knowing, usually in that jugalbandi, it's like एक बजाएगा, फिर उसके बाद ये, फिर 16 count, 8 count, 4 count, ऐसे करेंगे. But everyone playing together, different parts, and yet coexisting and playing together is rare. So that's another very interesting USP of West African rhythms. It sounds large, just like chenda drumming in the south, or ढोल ताशे का भी नहीं, ढोल एक पार्ट बजाएगा, ताशा अलग. So it's similar to some drumming cultures in India, but not many. Yeah, but the kind of, like, each one is playing individually a quote unquote simple part, but together it can sound really beautifully intricate.
I can imagine.
Yeah, that's a really interesting one. So to listen to this music, Mamady Keita has released a lot of, all his music discography is on any of your streaming platforms.
Okay.
Some other masters, Famudu Konate, amazing, beautiful old man. He's still alive. Lovely music. Faduba Olare. Then, once you type these in, Google will suggest you. So you can listen. These are some traditional West African grandmaster drummers. Adama Drame, lots of them. And the format is mainly drumming and voice. And even the melodic backing of these instruments would be percussive. So they have an instrument called the balafon, which is a
Okay.
wooden xylophone.
All right.
Yeah. And they have an instrument called the kora, which is an African harp. But the playing style is also very rhythmic. So percussion is actually at the heart of the way
Yeah.
this music
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
felt. Yeah. Really interesting earthy music to listen to. For those of you who like different kinds of music, this will definitely turn you on to a new kind of new genre for sure.
Yeah. And these are all foot tapping music. I mean,
Yeah,
they
yeah,
may
yeah.
not be like high on energy, but it will not make you sit still. I mean, if you
Oh, for
love
sure,
music,
for sure.
if you love
Yeah, yeah,
rhythm,
yeah.
then some part of your body has to move.
For sure. And that's what this music is a lot more intricate. तो आजकल का मतलब वो dhuk 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 like one that crazy one pulse. Sometimes it's mind numbing.
Yeah.
Okay, it's groovy, great. That's got its place. But this music is rhythmic and groovy to a whole other level. Really earthy, definitely more intricate and more. No, I might be biased, but whatever. More attractive, more magnetic, more dancey for sure.
है ना?
Yeah. More dancey for sure because it's a lot more creative than just boom,
Yeah.
boom, boom. It's definitely a lot more creative than that. Yeah.
Because even on Djembe, even if you're playing two beats, I could be getting wrong because it's been years that we've done it. You just can't just mechanically do it. You have to
have
move with
yeah,
it. Because,
for sure. For sure.
yeah,
Yeah.
all these guys have rhythm in their body
Bodies,
itself.
yeah,
Even
for
they
sure.
walk with a rhythm.
Yeah. Rhythm bring and the djembe to brings that out,
Right?
very naturally, very naturally. Yeah, for sure.
And lastly, how was your experience, playing with all
Well,
the
yeah.
veterans?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm very grateful for, honestly, yeah. Since COVID, I think, or post COVID, also the that part of that avatar or that persona of my life has to be re-sparked.
Yeah.
But I'm very grateful to have had the opportunity to play with these musical greats, really my musical heroes. Um, yeah. Right from from Sivamani sir to
Yeah.
Tawfiq Bhai to Sridhar Parthasarathy ji.
Yeah.
Then guest starring with Indian Ocean, and then Agni, and then that's how sort of Agni formed again. And Raghu Dixit with Dhruv Ghanekar, all these really amazing musicians that I know who are doing so well now, who are really just staying true to their musical, I guess, musical journey, musical intents. And so off late, in fact, since COVID made us all sit at home, I started releasing music through my band called Tal Inc. and Friends. And I call it my super band because, my God, yeah, there's everyone in this band is like a bigger star. It's amazing. I mean, just beyond that, beyond the whatever fame of stardom and all, it's the fact that they're on this album. I can't believe it sometimes. So Gino Sheldon are playing drum and bass. Gandhar, a dear friend of mine, plays flute.
Okay.
Sanjay Devecha, uh, he plays guitar with some amazing bands apart from his own, and plays with Zakir Bhai and things. So him and I've had the pleasure and the honor of co-composing music with him. Then apart from this, Rahul Wadhwani plays keys, and what I thought was each song could feature a new artist. So through this, one song features Kalpana Patori ji, where we've fused some Assamese and some Tiwa language songs with a West African song. Then in one song, it features this amazing a cappella quartet I know called the Women of the World. They're based in, well, they used to be based in Boston, but now all over the world.
Okay.
Then one song features an amazing rapper from Dharavi, and the Mridangam player Vivek Rajgopalan. Just amazing. Then
Wow.
one song features Vasundhara V, my absolute favorite singer in this country today. And that's the song Casa, in fact. Yeah, it's really lovely. That which will be the title track of the album.
Okay.
And I think I'm forgetting one more person. Yeah, one song features Sharmistha Chatterjee, the amazing singer. Just so each song has a traditional African rhythm and a non-African part, which has been weaved into the story. So the first song was actually a a tribute to my dad who passed away in 2017. But the song is called Bele Bele. Bele Bele means big personality, and you sing this song for people you love and are inspired by, and they may or may not be physically present in this world today. So this song, of course, I thought of many people, but mainly it was for dad. So the non-African part, or the Assamese part, is a translation of a poem that I wrote for him in Assamese. So like yeah.
Wow.
So the story kind of fits in like that. So every song has its own little nice, cute story in it. So, yeah.
Wow.
So I've released 5 songs so far. More songs will come out as you know. The process is ongoing, making music and putting it out. So yeah, that's Tal, Ink, and Friends. So that's a little. I think that's what I'll be focusing all my energy on in the future. Because in all of this, I miss the performing aspect of things a little, and I'd
Yeah,
really like
yeah.
to get back to that with my
Correct.
work. Yeah.
Yeah, lovely, lovely. Wonderful. Varun, that was fun interacting.
Hey, thank you. Thanks
Yeah,
so
yeah.
much.
Thank
Thanks
you
a lot.
so much for taking time out.
Oh, thanks for having
Thank
me.
you.
I
Thank
appreciate
you.
it.